Welcome back, everyone. We made it to Module H, Raising Resilient Children, in the Tribe's Transcending Historical Trauma Parenting Curriculum. It's been a really exciting ride getting here with you on this journey, and we're really excited to complete the training. And I'm here today with my co-facilitator, Rebecca. And as we've done in the past, we will be co-facilitating this session. I want to thank everyone again for coming back, and particularly want to thank our community member who provided us with a beautiful opening blessing to get started on this day. I would like to remind everybody to please take care of yourselves. You all know where the restrooms are, and emergency exits, and also the shelter in place evacuation location, and then also any parking restrictions. I also want to remind you to please silence your mobile devices and other technology, and we will silence ours as well. Thank you so much to our local hosts and sponsors and organizers for providing this space that we're in today. And also, again, just a reminder, please take care of yourselves. If there's anything that you need, or if you need to check in with one of us, please let us know. Thank you. I'm going to ask you to turn to page H2 in your participant workbook so that we can review the learning objectives and goals on the slide. And just a reminder, you will be able to use your workbooks and follow along with this training today. So the learning objectives, as I mentioned, found on page H2 of your participant workbook. The goal of Module H, Raising Resilient Children, is to summarize the training journey and close in a good way. Define self-compassion and community compassion and develop affirmations. Identify the characteristics of resilience and its impact to parenting. So those are the learning objectives that we'll be working towards today. And again, the goal is to really summarize the entire journey and close in a really good way. I want to also remind you about the learning agreement that we started in Module A when we began this journey, and also the safe and brave spaces that we created, and we've kept them up on the wall so that we can review them at any time. And I also want to ask, now that we've come to the end of our journey, is there anything that you learned along the way that you might want to add to the learning agreement? If not, can I get a thumbs up from everyone? Okay, great. All right. All right, let's get into this activity. Please turn to page H3 in your workbooks. If you recall, we asked you to bring an item that reminds you of your children or a child for this final session. And we've placed a blanket out in the middle of the room for those items to be collected. And I'd like to welcome you to go ahead and place those items at the center of the room. Nice. I'm seeing some really cute items. I see a stuffed animal. I see a flower. I'm seeing some pictures. I'm seeing some artwork. Just some really nice things that remind us of our children. Together, this will be our reminder throughout today, where all our good intentions will be channeled and focused on. These items will be returned to you at the end of the session. I want to add, if you forgot your item, but have in mind what that item would have been, You can simply write it or draw the item on a piece of paper and place it at the center of the room. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Rebecca to take us through the next few slides. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thanks, Teresa. Hi, everyone. My name is Rebecca. In this training, we have learned together what historical trauma is and how it can have an impact on parenting. We know historical trauma exists. We have also learned historical resilience is equally true. Historical resilience refers to the ability of Indigenous peoples to endure, adapt to, and recover from various forms of adversity and disruptions over time while maintaining cultural identities, social structures, and connection to ancestral lands despite historical challenges. Historical resilience encompasses the ability to sustain ways of life, preserve languages and traditions and knowledge systems, and resist or adapt to external pressures. It also involves the ability to transform and innovate in response to changing circumstances, like keeping a strong connection to heritage and identity. We are now going to spend some time talking about resilience in our own parenting and in our children, followed by a discussion of community resilience. Please turn to your books in page H3, and we're going to look at some definitions of resilience. We covered some on the previous slide, but what do you think it means to raise resilient children? Yes, Megan.
When I think about raising resilient children, I think about that it is possible, it's probable even that they will encounter difficulties in life, and that as we work to instill a sense of self into them, that they feel capable of being able to overcome these difficulties in their life, in many ways, not just by themselves, but with those around them and things around them as well.
Yes, great example. Thank you for sharing. And thank you all for sharing your thoughts as well. Now let's think about what it would look like in a child. Could someone share what they think resilience might look like in a child, or share maybe some examples of how your children are resilient? Yes,
Um,
Amanda.
I can go ahead and share.
Great.
Resilience in my child would be uh, s- them withholding their ability to still show compassion and kindness, even though going through what may be considered an adverse childhood experience, and just upholding the values that I have instilled in them.
Right. Great. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you all for sharing your other examples that you provided. Those are really amazing. We're going to go through some characters of resilience here on this slide. Those include manage emotions in stressful situations, offer empathy to others, that was mentioned, have personal goals for the future, humor and enjoyment in life, have patience with others, have at least one healthy relationship with someone, being able to create healthy boundaries, engage in healthy habits, and be physically active. There was a lot of examples that were on this list. So thank you all. In this module, we will explore further the importance of resilience as parents and caregivers and practice different ways to carry on the tradition of resilience for our children and future generations. So now I'm going to ask you to turn to page H4 in your workbooks. And as a small group, we're going to work together to generate some specific examples of what resilience would look like in a community. For instance, working together to support the community during COVID in a myriad of ways, or creating programming to support youth within the local library or schools. Everyone will have 5 minutes to work together to come up with as many examples that you can think of. And you can also write notes on page H4 of your workbooks. All right, everyone, before we start, does anyone have any questions? Can I get a thumbs up if we're ready to go? Awesome. I'm going to be giving some timing cues for when we need to wrap up, but Teresa and I are also going to be walking around the room. So if you have any questions or need clarification, we're here to support you all. So we'll come back in a few minutes. Thank you all so much for participating in that activity. I've had Teresa write down everyone's responses, all the things you shared, and we're going to keep that at the front of the room, and we're going to continue to reference it. And if anyone would like to add anything else during the break, you're more than welcome to. We want to just emphasize again that community resilience is the proactive and collective actions taken by a community to protect its members and ensure its long-term well-being, even in the face of significant stressors or disruptions. And that this concept involves the collective strength of the community, including social networks, resources, cultural practices, and that allows us to absorb the shock, bounce back, or even grow stronger in the face of difficulties. In previous modules, we discussed parenting networks and webbing a circle of support. The concept of community resilience reminds us that we are not alone in our parenting journey. Sometimes the community we are born into is there to support us. Sometimes we develop our own community supports, or it can be a combination of both. Historical and community resilience are important concepts to remember in our parenting journey. In this next slide, you will see an image that may be familiar to many tribes of the Southwest. I invite you all now to turn to page H5 in your workbooks. And let's all take a moment to focus on this image that you see on the slide. And I invite you all, if you would like to close your eyes or just keep your gaze on the image or just have it in your mind in any way that feels comfortable to you. And we're going to be listening to an audio clip. All right, everyone, I'm going to ask everybody to come back to the center of the space. I welcome you all to open your eyes, take a stretch if you need to. We're going to move on to our debrief here about the activity we just did. And we're going to ask the question for all of you, how does this story connect to our own resilience as parents and caregivers? Does anyone, or would anyone like to go first? Yes, Amanda.
So sometimes when I think of when I was growing up and looking at other families and in my surrounding community, I like to continue to break generational challenges within my own parenting, such as providing a safe space and a healing environment for my children, just as it was provided to me also. And so, uh, just the exercise that we just finished up, I feel like that really put into perspective.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, that choice to change, it's so powerful, right? Thank you for sharing that. Can I get another response, thought? Yes, Megan.
Yeah, I was thinking about how, really all of these different elements of parenting, even when we become aware of them, sometimes it's still we have to do intentionally, um, you know, be able to respond or do something different. Otherwise, we'll go back into this, and that's because of what's been molded already. And so we're having to remold as parents, actively as we become aware to actually do something to remold what we're doing.
Yes, no, definitely. And I love how you're using that word remold, kind of like the clay, right? With the pottery and reshaping, and even just being able to feel like that can happen can also be a wonderful experience. Thank you for sharing that. Remembering resilience as we parent is crucial because it shapes how we navigate the inevitable challenges and uncertainties of raising resilient children. And it also reminds us to equip ourselves with the tools we need to handle the demands of parenting more effectively. And so I just want to thank you all. Thank everybody in the room for sharing your thoughts about that. Great. So we're going to move on to the next slide here. I would like to invite everyone now to turn to page H5 in your workbooks. And you're going to see on this slide the return to the sacred path image again, which we've revisited many times before. The images you see now on the slide are just some that you might remember from our training journey together and represent activities, discussions, reflections, thoughts that we've all shared together. As you reflect on our time, what do you remember what was interesting or impactful to your parenting journey? And I would like if we could go around the room and share a thought. Who would like to go first? Megan, yes, thank you.
Something that I instantly am drawn to is the hand. I remember the flipping of the lid, thinking about how when we're stressed that there are all of the things that we need to do to think clearly goes out the window. And so in parenting, that becomes really important and a good reminder of that. And then the other picture I'm drawn to is the self-care plan. I'm thinking of, how important it is to be able to reflect on this on an ongoing basis and be able to be well, and that goes along with the hand. They both go together pretty nicely.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Those are great examples. Who would like to go next? Yes, Amanda.
So for me, it would be the web and the circle of support. Those are just reminders as uh, where we've added people and resources that are here to support us, and reminds me that we aren't alone as parents as well.
Right, right. No, excellent, excellent examples. Thank you. Who would like to go next? Suzanne.
I love the answers that the others gave. And I'm really drawn to the parenting action plan. I've really appreciated that we've had the opportunity when we're not in stressful situations to practice both hypothetical and actual situations. And what's really helped me is after our training, working with other people that I trust to think about stressful parenting challenges and think about if I was going to revisit that and do it again and practice what I might say and what I might do. And while I don't feel like I'm perfect in every area, I feel like it's really giving me an opportunity to be better and really practice those skills so that when similar situations come up, I'm ready with some language and skills to apply.
Awesome, beautiful. Thank you, Suzanne. And thank you all for those really great reflections. I mean, we heard so many great examples, right? The webbing, the flipping the lid, the parenting action plan. Those are all really great tools. And it's just amazing to see how far we've come along. Looks like a lot here on the slide, but yes, thank you all for participating. Now we're going to go into our next activity, and we hope this is a fun one. It's going to be an optional reflection activity for our group, and we're going to just take the next 20 minutes to create a collage of all the things that we have learned on this journey together and what it's meant to you. And it's just time to reflect and ask yourself, what has this training meant for you as a parent? What does this training mean for your relationship with your child going forward? Right? We're going to start thinking about the future. And working on your own, we're going to provide a variety of materials for you to create this collage. We've got some magazines, some markers, stickers, we've got scissors, we've got some other items that you are all free to use and work with. And this collage should be a mixture of any pictures, drawings. It can even be symbols that you would like to use to express all the ideas that you have. And when our activity time ends, we'll come back together and share our collages with each other. All right. So Teresa and I are going to be walking around the room again. We're going to be here to support you in any way. And if you have any questions. All right. So we'll come back together in about 20 minutes. All right, let's come back together, and thank you all for sharing your wonderful collages. We're just gonna display these all across the room so we can all see them throughout the rest of our day. We also want you to just take a moment to walk around and see each other's work. It's really beautiful. And so in our next section here, we're just going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and do the second half of our training together. But we'll let you know in about 15 minutes where we're going to come and start the second half. And we just encourage you all that, you know, do what you need to do. If you need to practice self-care right now, please feel free to do that. And Teresa and I will also be hanging out during the break if you need us.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a good break. If you notice, we've rearranged the room and we've moved all the chairs into the center and formed a circle. We're also sitting around the items that we brought that represent our children. As we near the end of our time together, we want to take some time to create a path forward. We want to create space and time to reflect on all that has been discussed and shared. We want to set good intentions, or maybe a new starting point toward making different choices and changes in the way we parent our children. I invite you all to take a few seconds to gather your thoughts and feelings and to think about all the information, knowledge, and skills we have shared together, and to ponder what we have learned about ourselves in this learning journey together as parents and caregivers. Raising resilient children is a path we are all on together. And to continue on this journey, we have to have compassion for ourselves and remind ourselves of the parents we can be for our children. But before we begin, we are going to practice offering one good intention for our children, one thing we would like to continue to do for them, and that we will carry with us after this training is completed. All right, walking around the room, I heard some really great responses. I heard people wanting to parent in a way that is resilient, that acknowledges children's emotions. Some said they wanted to parent in a way that acknowledges generational healing. I also heard that they want to parent in a way that returns and restores the cultural values that we all know and we all have. Okay, let's take some time to think about how you would complete this statement. There are no wrong answers, only what speaks to you right now. So we'll go around the room and share. Please turn to page H6, where you'll see a prompt which says, after completing my training as blank parent caregiver, I will parent in a way that blank. Here's an example. After completing my training as Adelina's parent, I will parent in a way that promotes resilience. So take a few moments to reflect. Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you for that. I was listening to some of the things that you were sharing with one another, and some of the things that I heard were, I would I will parent in a way that acknowledges my children's emotions. I will parent in a way that acknowledges generational healing. I also heard that people will parent in a way that restores cultural values. All just excellent statements about how we're going to all move forward in our parenting. So thank you everyone for sharing. Okay, now let's take some time to think about the meaning and importance of self-compassion and parenting. What do you think self-compassion and parenting means? Megan?
I think it means not judging yourself and really just thinking of ourselves as human beings and that we're all learning as we go. When we know better, we do better, but we have compassion that we are doing our best.
Yes, thank you for that response. So self-compassion, the definition here, as you can see on the slide, self-compassion is extending compassion to oneself in instances of perceived inadequacy, failure, or general suffering. Self-compassion in parenting is the practice of treating yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and care that you would offer to a close friend, especially in the context of parenting challenges. It involves acknowledging your own struggles, imperfections, and emotional needs without harsh self-judgment or criticism. Self-compassion also involves being mindful of your thoughts and feelings without becoming overwhelmed by them. This means noticing your emotions, such as frustrations or maybe guilt, without letting them spiral out of control. Self-compassion also includes recognizing that you're not alone in your struggles. Every parent faces difficulties, and it's part of the shared human experiences. Parenting often comes with moments of self-doubt and regret. Self-compassion means forgiving yourself for these moments and understanding that you're doing the best you can in a challenging role. Practicing self-compassion and parenting involves making time for your own needs and well-being. It's about understanding that taking care of yourself, it's not selfish. It's essential for being the best parent you can be. So I'd like to take you into the affirmations activity. Please turn to page H7 of your workbook. On page H7 of your workbook, you will find a page with some writing prompts. And in a moment, we'll be given a handful of index cards. We're passing them out right now. One way of practicing self-compassion is writing positive affirmations. So for this section, we will create positive affirmations for ourselves. Positive affirmations are statements meant to be read or said often and kept in a place that we can easily access or see every day. When we repeat positive messages to ourselves or each other, we begin to build a better attitude towards ourselves. The positive affirmations that we create will be for ourselves and can also be used for our children. So I'd like for you to pair with another parent. If you get stuck in thinking about positive affirmations for yourself, ask for the other person to help you. And just remember, affirmations don't necessarily have to reflect how you think now, but are positive statements or messages you would like to remind yourself of in the future. So what we've put out here is 10 index cards for each of you. 5 of the affirmations will be for yourselves, and the other 5 will be affirmations for your children. On each index card, please write one positive affirmation. We will share with you a few examples on the slide to help get you started. Feel free to take any of these examples for yourselves, and of course, whatever you would like to write for yourself, please do so. So I'll go ahead and start with some examples. I am resilient and I can handle whatever comes my way.
I am doing my best, and that is enough.
It's okay not to have all of the answers. I am learning and growing every day.
I trust my instincts as a parent.
Mistakes are opportunities for growth, both for me and my children.
I can be patient, even when things are challenging.
I can provide a safe, loving environment for my children.
I can take care of myself so that I can take care of my family.
I choose to focus on the positive aspects of my parenting journey.
I forgive myself for not being perfect.
I can teach my children valuable lessons, even in difficult moments.
I can be present with my children and cherish our time together.
I can give myself permission to rest and recharge. So those are just some examples. Again, please take some time to complete at least 5 positive affirmations for yourself. And once you're done, write 5 more positive affirmations for your child, statements or reminders you would like to share with them. All right, thank you for taking the time to write some positive affirmations for yourself and for your children. Would anybody like to share what they wrote down? Amanda.
Hey, so what I wrote down as an affirmation for myself is I am strong, I am resilient, I am cherished, and I am Kashtama, which is our tribal name for our community.
Mm.
Hey. Megan?
My affirmations are that I can teach my child to deal with their emotions. I can tell them something that I'm proud of them for at least once a day. I can be present and be with them when I'm with them, trying to have some good times, and I can learn new ways of parenting, and I can forgive myself for not knowing before.
Mm.
Thank you, Megan. And Suzanne?
I actually wrote down the one that I'm going to share is one that I wrote for both of my children. And I wrote down that no matter what happens, I'm always proud and lucky to be your parent.
Nice. Those are wonderful. And I did hear quite a few as you were all talking to one another. I did hear quite a few, but thank you for sharing. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Rebecca to close us out.
Thank you, Teresa. We have come to our closing activity today, and it's just really wonderful to see everyone talking with each other and sharing. And we're going to just continue on and close out session H in that really good and positive way. So I'm going to ask you all to turn to page H8 in your workbooks. And we just created affirmations for ourselves and our children. Now we're going to close our training with affirming each other and the community we've built here. We talked a little bit about self-compassion and community compassion, as these are related concepts. Community compassion involves extending empathy, kindness, and understanding to the people within our community. It means being aware of historical and present day challenges, struggles, and the need of those around us. This concept is about fostering a sense of togetherness and mutual care. So for this next activity, we're going to ask everybody to gather in 2 large circles in the center of our room. And we're going to display some reminders of the good intentions that was created at the beginning of the day. We're going to create 1 outer circle and 1 inner circle. And we're going to ask you all to make sure that you are facing each other. So you're going to be across from one person. And so you should at least have one person that's facing you. And now we're going to provide everyone with a string or ribbon that is long enough to be tied around your wrist. So each participant, you all should have a handful of colorful beads. Teresa's going to be passing those around. And they should be equal to the number of everyone here. So if there's 10 of us here, you all should have 10 beads in your hands. Once every participant has the materials that you need, so a ribbon or string and the right amount of beads, we'll continue on to the next prompt. All right, can I get a thumbs up? Does everybody have their materials ready? Awesome, great. Okay, so this training has been a long learning journey together. And once this training has ended today, your parenting journey will also still continue. As we have set good intentions for our children at the beginning of this training, we are now going to end our time together, giving and sending each other off with good intentions as parents and caregivers. Each bead you have represents one good intention you have for one of your fellow participants in this training. You will take turns standing in front of each other. And as you stand in front of each other, you'll hold a bead in your hand and then share your personal good intention with the other person. Once you're done, hand them the bead and move on to the next person. Once you're handed a bead, place it on your string or ribbon. Everyone will take turns sharing with each other before going to the next person in line. And so we're going to display a slide here that includes some good intention starters. So you can use these if you like. You can create ones on your own. But these are just to help you get started with saying a good intention for your fellow person here. So some of those include our I wish for you. You can start off in that way. I hope for you. May you continue to fill in the blank. Or my hope for our community. These are just starters. So feel free to pick any one. You can use the same one. You can change it up. But the idea is to just set a good intention for somebody today. All right. So we're going to take some time, as much time as we need to do that, until everyone has given out their beads. Are there any questions before we start that Teresa and I can clarify for you? Can I get a thumbs up from everyone if you're ready? Awesome. Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and begin.
I wish for a strong support system that lifts you up, and I hope for you to see the amazing parent you already are.
May you continue to nurture both your children and yourself. And my hope for our community is that we build a circle of trust, care, and encouragement.
I wish for you to have the confidence to trust your instincts. And I hope for you to have deep connections with your children today and as they grow.
May you continue to believe in your ability to parent in your own way. My hope for our community is that we celebrate our differences and learn from each other.
I wish for you continued growth and compassion as a parent. And my hope for our community is that we raise children who are kind, resilient, and loved. Thank you, everyone, so much for sharing your intentions. It was just incredible and wonderful to hear all the positive affirmations, all the well wishes and blessings that we're giving each other before we end today. This now concludes our training. I want to just thank everyone again for your participation today. We want to just draw your attention to page H9 and 10 in your workbooks. There are some pages here that you will find places to write down any contact information of anyone you would like to keep in touch with from the group, or if you would have to or like to invite somebody to be part of your circle of support. We're also going to share community or resources with you before you leave. So if you have any questions about that, Teresa and I will hang out afterwards. And we're just going to close in a positive way. This afternoon, we've asked a local elder to share a prayer and help us to collect our thoughts and close out in a good way. And we're also going to remind you all to not forget to collect your personal items before you leave that we have here in the center of our room on the blanket. We also want to just ask if there's anyone that would like to help us clean up or, just wrap up this space. You are more than welcome to do so, but you're not required. So we're going to turn it now to our local elder to say our closing prayer. Thank you, everyone.